In this video, you're going to learn how to implement the iNotify property change interface, but in an automated way. To show you this, I have created an example project, which is the one we see on the screen. It is a very simple application where I created a set of entry controls. We see a first entry control that requests a first number. We have another entry control that requests a second number, and finally, we have a last entry control where it is going to show the result of the sum of this pair of numbers that we have obtained previously. We also have a button which we have assigned a binding to a command to carry out the execution of an operation. If we review the view model, we see that it is a very simple code. We have some properties that will allow us to work with the graphical interface data. There are three public properties of type integer, and we also have the command that will allow us to carry out the addition of numbers. If we start the execution of the application, when we press the button that says calculate, we see that it does not happen at all. We have seen previously that this is happening because we have to notify the graphical interface that a change has occurred in one of the bound properties. I have already shown you how to implement the iNotify property change interface, which I am going to implement with the code that I have created previously. Notice that we have a total of 21 lines that are part of this class. If I proceed to paste the implementation of the iNotify property change interface, the number of lines increases substantially. The number has increased to 57 lines. This is because we are implementing the interface, which involves the creation of the event and the onPropertyChange method that is normally created to trigger the event. And also the onPropertyChange method is invoked from each of the properties so that we do not have any kind of problem later, and we can modify each one of them, in case we need to do so in the application. If we run the application again, and we return to insert some numbers, we see that this time, when we click on the button that says calculate, we are already showing the result in a satisfactory way. We can try with another number, and when we click on the button, the summation is carried out. The problem we currently have is that we have many lines of code that could confuse us. There is a way to simplify the number of lines and to automate the implementation of the iNotify property change interface to optimize this implementation. What is this way? Well, let's proceed to install a NuGet package through Manage NuGet Packages for solution, and let's look for the term foddy. We're going to install the package called property change foddy. We select it and install it. Once the package has been installed, we go back to the class where we want to implement the interface, which in my case is this view model. I'm going to remove the implementation of the interface, and I'm also going to comment out this code that we have at the bottom so you can see how this implementation works. In the same way, I'm going to place the properties as self-implemented. As part of the class called main-page-view-model, we have to add an attribute through the placement brackets called add iNotify property change interface. We have to import the namespace that is needed, which is this one called property changed. Once we have added the attribute, we're going to uncomment the command line, which is the one that performs the execution of the operation. I'm going to remove these commands as well so you can see how many are left after the implementation. And I'm going to start the execution of the application once again. Let's look at the application again. I'm going to enter some numbers. I hit the calculate button, and look how this way we've automatically implemented the iNotify property changed interface, even in each of the properties. I'll explain what this package we've added is doing. Basically, this attribute adds the implementation of the iNotify property changed interface to the class on which the attribute is added. Subsequently, in each of the self-implemented properties, the execution of the onPropertyChange method is automatically invoked when required. That is, after carrying out the assignment of a value in the set of each property. In this way, we have further simplified the code, and look how we already have only 23 lines of code that carry out the implementation, with the advantage that we do not have to worry about implementing the interface in the class, nor to implement the event and the method that notifies the graphical interface of the change. In addition, even if we add more properties in the class, they will automatically notify of changes in the graphical interface.